last week we talked about what times of crisis can make us feel. We saw how they can make us uncertain, confused, anxious, and frustrated. But have you thought about what triggers those feelings? What is it exactly in a crisis that makes it that stressful? In fact, times of crisis wreak havoc in our lives. They mess up our norms, they force new dynamics, and they challenge us because of those new dynamics that we're not used to. When I had to switch to working from home, while at the same time managing my son's new routine in the house, that challenged my productivity at work as well as my parenting style. Having to lose an income or a job certainly challenges our lifestyles and finances and plans. Social distancing is a whole other ballgame from a mental health perspective. So all of those challenges that we get exposed to bring us out of our comfort zone. And human beings are creatures of habit, because habit gives us a sense of control, predictability, and power. But in crisis time, things become unpredictable. And because of that, we lose our sense of control and certainty. That provokes a whirlwind, the whirlwind of feelings that we talked about last week. So the real trigger in a crisis time to the reactions and feelings, probably you guessed by now, and I call it the beast in a crisis, it is change. During crisis times, everything around us changes. The context changes, the conditions and the environment changes, all the dynamics. And as a result, we change as well in response to that. As a matter of fact, change becomes a necessity if we want to regain control over our lives, because a crisis never leaves us the same. Now, in normal times when we don't have any crisis, come to think about it, we tend to resist change. We're not comfortable with change. We tend to delay it, to maybe think about it if we want to embrace it or not. We get scared of it sometimes. And even when we decide that we want to embrace change, it comes after a period of thinking and analysis, weighing all the risks, before we actually take the decision that we want to pursue the change. And during crisis time, we don't have the luxury, neither for time nor for choice, because change is somehow imposed on us and it's immediate. We have to do that very quickly, and that is the stressful part. Now the key is, do we realize that we have to change? And are we willing to make that change? And how long does it take us to make the decision to embrace the changes that we have to make during crisis time? So how would you respond to those questions based on your experience with COVID-19 times? And how has this crisis changed you or changed the conditions around you? Next week, we will explore that in more details. I'll wait for your responses and comments, because they're gonna help me shape up the next video as I explore examples based on the COVID-19 experience. Thank you, and see you next week.